When we talk about leadership, it's so easy to get lost in the numbers, right? KPIs, revenue, all those growth charts. But what if the real secret to unlocking potential isn't hiding in a spreadsheet? Today, we're diving into something way more powerful, the human experiences that truly define great leadership. Let's figure out how to become that kind of leader.
So here's our game plan. We've got 5 T-stops on our journey today. We're going to start with the problem pretty much every leader faces. Then we'll define what a peak experience actually is. We'll see it in action with a real-life story, check out the tools that make it happen, and then, finally, we'll lay out how you can start on your own path.
All right, let's kick things off with a feeling that, well, I'm sure many of you know. It's that constant tension between just putting out fires and actually leading with purpose.
I want you to just pause for a second and think about your last week. Did it feel like you were just lurching from one crisis to the next, constantly in reactive mode? Or did you feel like you were guided by a real sense of purpose, pulling your team forward? That question right there, that's the core of the whole leadership challenge.
This quote from M360's founder, Donald Fleming, really just reframes the whole conversation, doesn't it? It's not about being in control or micromanaging every little thing. It's about becoming an architect of experiences, designing moments that lift up everyone around you.
So this whole idea of elevating others really leads us to what we call a peak experience. What on earth is that, and why is it such a game changer for a leader? Let's break it down.
The psychologist Abraham Maslow was the first to talk about these moments, times of incredible joy and fulfillment. For a leader, it's that breakthrough feeling. It's that aha moment in a meeting where a super complex strategy just clicks for the whole team. It's that feeling of walking out of a room more energized than when you walked in. It's that deep down feeling of, yes, this is why I do what I do.
And look, this isn't just some feel-good, fluffy concept. It has a huge, measurable impact. Research from the Harvard Business Review is crystal clear. When leaders create these kinds of meaningful experiences, their people are 3.5 times more likely to be engaged. I mean, think about that. That is a staggering difference.
This really shows the two different worlds a leader can live in. On one side, it's just constant firefighting. Meetings are an energy drain, and your team is just complying. But on the other side, with peak experiences, your leadership has purpose. Meetings actually create clarity and energy, and your team isn't just complying. They are genuinely, passionately committed. It's the difference between just maintaining and building real momentum.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but what does it look like in the real world? Let's make this tangible and talk about the story of a CEO named Clara who is at a major crossroads.
Now, Clara's situation is probably going to sound pretty familiar. She was running a manufacturing company, putting in crazy long hours. But no matter how hard she worked, her leadership team was out of sync. Projects were slipping, and honestly, she was burning out fast. She was totally stuck in that firefighting mode we just talked about.
So her turnaround started with a few deceptively simple but powerful tools. She used the M360 Planner to get crystal clear on her priorities for the next 90 days. She used the M360 Habit Tracker to build consistency in her own actions. And she used M360 Meet to bring a sharp focus to her meetings. You see how they all connect. It's about linking the big picture strategy to daily habits to what happens in a single, focused meeting.
And the result? Well, within just a few months, her team was totally aligned and re-energized. But here's the kicker. Listen to what Clara said. It wasn't just about the improved productivity. She said she felt proud again. She reconnected with that feeling she'd lost. That right there is the power of a peak experience. It plugs you back into your why.
Now, Clara's story is incredible, but it wasn't an accident. It didn't just happen by luck. It was made possible by a system specifically designed to create this kind of change, the M360 ecosystem.
This whole ecosystem is built to systematically pull a leader out of that reactive mode. You get the high-level strategy with the LPR program. You reinforce it every single day with the digital tools, and you sharpen the execution by turning wasteful activities, like bad meetings, into high-value ones. It's all designed to work together to create the conditions for a breakthrough.
So, you've seen what this is and why it matters. The big question is, how can you start creating these moments for yourself and your team? Well, here's a really clear path to get started.
It really boils down to 3 practical things you can start doing today. First, get ruthless about your priorities. Stop trying to do everything. What are the 2 or 3 big rocks that will actually move the needle? Second, track your habits. It's the small, consistent actions that compound into huge results. And third, totally elevate your meetings.
Start treating time like the precious resource it is and demand focus from everyone in the room.
I absolutely love this quote from Pascal Dubois, the coach who worked with Clara. It just hits the nail on the head. Peak experiences are not random bolts of lightning from the sky. They are the natural result when you intentionally create the right environment. You are the architect of inspiration for your team.
When you shift from firefighting to intentionally designing these moments, you're not just managing a team anymore. You're creating the experiences that will define their careers, and ultimately, your own. So the only question left is, are you ready to reveal the leader in you?